Alright guys, we're headed over to some sandbars to discuss what happened to this Cub that's on the front of the video that I'm sure everybody's wondering about. I get more questions probably about building a plane first, probably first place, and then the second place questions are probably about landing on sandbars. So when we get there, I want to go over some of the do's and don'ts that I've learned. I'm not a rule book, I'm not an instructor, I'm just giving you information to kind of help you out. I tried to analyze what went on, and really it was pretty simple for me to do because I've seen everything. I've had everything happen that her tracks show that she did. She just didn't get away with it. So we'll discuss a little more about that and why and all that stuff. But right now, we'll just bump along here. It's a little bumpy day. Winds are fairly light, about 10. It's been really windy here. But right now it's pretty nice. It is, we're at 2,500 feet and it's 36 degrees here. About 40 on the ground. There again, we've had warm, we've had cold. We're right in the middle of that change in season. The rivers have been up, the rivers are down. Right now they're down enough that there'll be some sandbars to land on. Not all of them will be out, but a lot of them will. But anyway, we're going to take a look at them and we'll discuss it a little more when we get there. About 15 minutes. Alrighty, gas, undercarriage, mixture, propeller. I'm going to show you a picture or two and then we'll discuss it a little bit. I went over to see the place where it happened, but we were on vacation when it happened there in early February, and we had a couple of pretty good windy days, stormy type days while we were gone, and it pretty well wiped out the tracks, so I couldn't really get a good look at them. So anyway, I'm going to base everything I'm going to tell you on just the pictures I saw, because I've pretty much been where it was a woman pilot. She was an instructor, I believe, probably a good pilot. You see the plane right here. She's just not equipped for the sand. That's all I can say. A lot of people ask me all the time about sandbar landing and stuff, and I tell them don't, unless you get some good advice from somebody that does it in your area. I don't know what your area has and compared to what my area has, so I can only speak of what goes on here. But anyway, if you look in this photo right here, if you'll notice the tracks, the first thing wrong, there's only 2 tracks. let me take that back. The first thing wrong is she's got little bitty tires. I don't know if you've ever tried to ride a 10-speed in the sand with those little bitty skinny tires. That's about the same drag as a Cub would have with the little bitty tires. The sandbar itself didn't look that soft. It was rocky looking on top, normally a good sign. Farm Fox has 26-inch tires, and that is the smallest bush tires that you can buy from Alaskan Bush Wheels. The next set will be 29s. Just because the bigger the tire, the better the roll, more safety factor. And that's what we're after when you're out here flying this kind of flying. First of all, you got to do it the best you can, and second, you got to be as safe as you can. Okay, so that safety margin goes way down when this rubber goes from 26 inches tall down to about, she probably had 800s, it looked like, maybe just 600. So that would be I don't know the exact height of those, but they would be, maybe up to maybe a half as tall as these, maybe a 12 to 13-inch tire. But it just wasn't enough. And then the second thing I see in those photos, if you'll notice, she's just making 2 tracks. She landed a wheel landing. She rolled for a while, everything was going really good. If you look on the right hand side of this picture, she hit the brakes. And the reason I know that is because I've done it. Anytime you hit your brakes very hard on the sand, you break the surface, and the sand is super soft underneath. She lands out here in a wheel landing. I'd say everything's going good until she touched those brakes. And that's when those wheels broke through, and you'll see on the right hand side, it broke through the crust, and then immediately on the left hand side you see she got off the brakes and then hit them the second time, and I'm guessing the left hand side then went through, and then that's when it was too late. Once that tail gets to a certain place, there's no stopping it, comes right on over. Luckily, she was going slow enough, it stopped right there. Most of them go ahead and flip upside down. So she was fortunate that she had it slowed. That's why I know she was going really slow when this happened, because it just nosed up and it didn't go on over. So that's just my best guess from the pictures. I think I can see what happened looking at those pictures. I'd like to talk to her and ask her what happened, for sure. Maybe we can get that done. But you're going to go out there and play in the sand, get you some rubber on there. First thing, the first most important thing is the tires. You got to be able to drive on top of this. If you can see right here, if you'll notice this this is my tail wheel. This is really sandy right here. So this is probably half as big as her tires are. So you can see the difference in just the tail wheel driving across here. This is where I had I'm sure I had the elevator down, is why it was carrying light. And this is when I came here to make the turn, it sunk in on me. But look at the mains. The mains are basically just barely a crease in the sand. And that's because I've got the big floater tires on there. But the tail wheel did just like her wheel done. When I backed off the down elevator and let it plane sit down, why, it went in. That's my opinion on what happened, so you guys can analyze the pictures just like I did, and kind of let me know what you think is going on. And I don't want to downplay it at all. This is by far the most fun I've had in 38 years. I had my man. I can't believe that I had my license for 38 years. This is by far the most fun flying I do is the sandbar. But I researched it a lot before I ever came out here. Very unnerving the first time you come out here. Of course, I'm by myself because there are no other sandbar flyers out here in my neck of the woods. We're getting a few more, but the first thing I tell them is buy them some tires. You know, I've had several. I have more questions about sandbar flying probably more on the build. For my build videos, I get a lot of questions on those. But second to that, I get more questions about the sandbar flying that I do. I have people from other states call and ask me how to do it, and I'm very hesitant to say because I don't know your conditions. All I know is what I've been on, and you know, they're basically the same. You can tell it after you land on a 20 or 30 bars. You get to seeing where you, especially if you walk around on them, you get to seeing kind of the ground that you can land on and the ground you can't land on. So it's really hard to tell somebody, but I always ask them first thing, what size tires you got. You know, if they've got 29s or 31s or some big tires, I tell them to go for it. Find you a smooth bar and go after it. If they've got, most of them though, most of the people who want to do this are sitting on street tires. I call street tires. The normal tires an airplane would have on that lands on asphalt, and I tell them just don't. I mean, just don't. Unless you can walk it, physically get out there and walk it and find out that it for sure is a good solid gravel bar. That's the only way you'll be safe with that small of a tire, because they will just get you in trouble. That's all there is to it. You get in trouble enough on your own. So anyway, it's a lot of fun, but don't just go out and do stuff when you're not equipped and when you don't know exactly what you're doing. So if you guys are going to fly on the bars, do it the safe way, and just better off to get somebody to help you out on it. Somebody that knows your local area, knows a little better. A lot of places are just pure rock, good and solid. Big bars like this, on the first place the water hits, you'll have bigger gravel, and then the last place the water leaves will be pure sand, and that's just the way the water deposits things that it goes across here. But be safe, most of all, because we want to fly again tomorrow if we can. Have a good one. God bless you.